Sigal, a lot of these conversations that we are having today about AI and GenAI, they say that change has to come from the top. And this is why we are having this panel discussion to talk about how to lead from the top and how to have these, execute these changes out here, understanding cultural mindsets, understanding AI and ethics, understanding talent, reskilling, upskilling. But let me start with a kind of a broad question. Yours is a kind of virtual and medical management services company. So that kind of, it's pharma, healthcare, many other things. So in your kind of sector, what does it mean in today's times to be a global leader? What is exactly the kind of opportunities? Let's not speak about the challenges for now.
So first of all, you said a few very important things. Cultural, so the culture of an organization is key. And yes, it's true that AI and digitalization and implementation of technology needs to come from the vision of the CEO, but I also have to add to that not only. It is right to go and ask your people, what do you think? AI is here, come with ideas, where are the processes where AI and digitalization can help you people do better and work less on certain, very time-consuming tasks that you may not need to, and how can we implement digitalization to make your time be used in a better way. And if it works in a transparent way and in a collaborative way, we see great outcomes where it comes from the top and the bottom. So a mutual, I think, culture is very, very important. So as a healthcare company that manages millions of customers worldwide with offices in 12 different countries, clearly communicating, servicing people who come from different backgrounds, different genetics, different capabilities, different access to quality care. It is crucial for us, A, to have standardization, B, to manage our data in a secure but a smart way, to share that data, to learn from each other, and to implement the outcomes of what we learn and how we manage our data into predictive modeling and into understanding what people need, what do they lack, and how do we, A, assess the risks to develop certain medical conditions, what is the best solutions for them, how to implement them, how to best diagnose at scale, using data, conditions, how to treat them. Now, it seems that I said really a lot of things, right?
Yeah, I wanted to narrow it down and ask you, so what are the two key attributes that a digital leader would have, especially in your space, for instance?
Attribute as a leader, or yes, what does he do or implement in his organization?
Yeah, for implementing in the organization.
What did we implement? Okay, so A, data. Get your data, manage it, clean it, organize it, and make it to work for the organization, for your people and for your customers. For us, data is key. And the future, for me, in healthcare is very simple. What is going to happen is that AI, albeit so many people are afraid of it, will not replace doctors. People will forever, and I see that even stronger in India, will forever want to speak to a doctor, someone needs to treat, prescribe, etc. So AI actually doesn't replace, but augments and enhances and gives more time for the doctors and gives them tools to become better doctors, to improve outcomes. So A, data. How does that work? Very simple, and I will take you all the way to the end. Very soon, and soon is debatable, but very soon, when you will go to a doctor with a serious medical condition, you will push your button, we can call it your Medix button or any other new Google or AI button, and it will tell you the same person with the same genetic makeup as possible, your weight, your medical history, family history, current symptoms, current diagnosis, has been managed in 89% of success with 9,723,000 people. And then you will get stats. You will press that button. That information is going to go straight into your app or into your phone or to your doctor. You're going to see him, but you will never go to see your doctor without that data. And your doctor will never prescribe anything for you without having access to that information that is based on data analytics, digitalization, and AI that learns from world experience of analyzing medical outcomes.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Dilip, Your also sector is a highly regulated sector. I mean, healthcare, yes, banking, BFSI. In fact, actually, a lot of sectors now today are. But in your particular case, it's pretty highly regulated. So as a digital leader, the same question, what are the kind of key attributes of a digital leader in today's times?
I think, as you go through the changes, what is happening because of technology, I always feel that there are three things that needs to be looked upon internally. One is because you want to simplify what is the existing stuff as of today, the efficiency and that topic becomes extremely important. The second bit is because of the things which is happening, you just need to be aware of the new business models that get created, which basically means your existing business model will get disrupted. So you need to be very clear that what are the things that is happening which will change the business model. So using those technologies which can help you create those business models are extremely important. And third bit is, which is even more interesting, is that people tend to avoid that if you're a bank, you're going to get disrupted by a bank. Whereas you can take tons and tons of example now, even if you look at large technical companies or technology companies are going into medical space. So it's not that your competitor will come from the same space. So that external view is also important, that it's not that your traditional competitor will disrupt you, but it can be completely new companies which will come and disrupt you. So I think it's all the three aspects. One is how do you get operationally better? How do you look at the existing business models which can give you completely different kinds of services? And how new people who are coming who can disrupt you. The second bit, which I feel is becoming more important, is because all of us, when we run large setups, the whole culture of learning becomes kind of very, very big important. I think everybody knows that AI as a technology is not a technology which is just coming and going. I think it's a reality that it will change a life for us personally and professionally, whether it is 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, but it will change. So I think the biggest thing that people can do, or what we want to do, is we want to make sure that everybody in the firm understands that this is going to have a change. Create that culture that learning is becoming an important aspect. I'm not telling that AI is the only topic to learn, but that whole culture and the mindset of building people to learn and keep on learning the stuff is becoming an extremely important aspect as a part of the culture. So I think one is a learning piece as a part of the larger transformations, but three important pieces I touched upon internally, business model and looking at the competitor, which makes you a better leader. Yeah. What you need to look at, that's the quality that you need to look into the leadership aspect when leading a large firm.
Thanks, Dilip. Jayashree, in your case, I mean, the Coromandel Group has, of course, manufacturing, agriculture, diverse kind of operations. It's the same question to you also, but you also are the president corporate, but also you hold the purse strings, as I said earlier, as CFO. So for you, it's pretty interesting. So as a digital leader, what are the kind of attributes that you can see, 2 or 3, quickly?
So the main thing is to understand the key business drivers. There could be a lot of opportunities and gaps in any business, and then see how you can actually tap those, right? In any business, when you look at it, there could be 3 or 4 main areas. You can look at customers, and in our case, it's the farmers. And it's about customer acquisition, customer retention, it is about customer delight. So an example, through our retail stores, where we have about 750 stores, we work closely with the farmers. One example which we are doing now, but we can further scale up, is about precision farming, where you take the data from the weather stations, you integrate it with what you have on the soil conditions, especially on the nutrients. Then you talk about temperature, humidity, and you overlay it on the crops. And therefore, what could be some of the pests that could come in? Does the soil need a certain level of nutrition? And you give agronomist advice to the farmers so that they can improve the yield and productivity. So this is a use case for farmers. Similarly, when you look at the manufacturing line, or the logistics, supply chain, these are again very critical areas. How can you improve the productivity in your manufacturing line? It could be in terms of mix of raw materials, what product should come in, the optimal mix, reliability. So we did one analytics use case very recently, which is in terms of improving the throughput for one of our phosphoric acid plants. The measurement is not the tons per day, but what do you get in terms of rupee crores end of the year? Because that's very important. The value capture has to get quantified so that we can tangibly see that there is a rupee crore and there is a percentage improvement in terms of EBITDA. The third area is about empowering our teams in terms of data that will be available when they go and work with our customers. So this is about information about the dealers, everything on a touch of a button. So when our MOs go to visit the dealers, they should be able to see the track of the dealers. What do they buy? What have they bought? If they bought 10 products last year, this year, are they buying all the 10 or they are not? And if we have few more, can we bundle and give it to them? And what is your status in terms of receivables, liquidation? So all information available with touch of a button so that intelligently they can go and converse and improve on sales. The last but not the least is the information that should be available to the management. It has to be timely. It needs to be insightful so that they can guide the teams in terms of right decision making. So these are few areas I think we've been working on.
Good. I'll come back to the challenges also very soon. Sajid, in your case, you're already a digital person. You're doing mapping, you're doing digital twins for cities and so much more. In your particular case, how has digital transformation, this whole AI, GenAI kind of thing, impacted you? In what sense? How you leverage these technologies?
Right. So Leslie, as you mentioned that we are creating the digital twin of urban India, and we are creating therefore a platform for a host of areas which impact the lives of common citizens to be made easier. So be it, so case in point, we have done around 1 million kilometers of imaging, street imaging of almost 1,500 towns and cities. So Google uses us for, the street view data, which is there, is what our company does. So we are happy about the fact that we have democratized data, which is used by millions of citizens. So to help me fight gate number 20 here in Geo was a small example of that. So, but what we are doing in the case of the digital twin of urban cities, we believe that we would attempt to play an important role in revolutionizing urban governance. In Indian cities, we would help utilities plan their networks better. We would also have a play in real estate and in many areas which impact the lives of the common citizen. So we have a very audacious goal, is to digitize India in one of the largest urbanization which is happening within this country. So,
great. Of course, I will be treating the challenges, but first, Sigal, you, because we are short on time as far as you are concerned. So there are three areas from a challenges point of view as outsiders that we see. One, of course, is talent. Upskilling, reskilling. Second is AI and ethics, which is something which is very close to your heart, and as far as the sector that you're dealing with is also a very highly regulated sector. And the third, what we have been talking throughout the day, is how are these, scaling of these pilots, the AI and GenAI pilots. So if you can just tell us some of these challenges covering these three areas.
So upskilling and cross-skilling is not a challenge, it's a reality, okay? I can't call it a challenge. A challenge is something you can't cope with. Now, we have to all admit AI is here, digitalization is here. If someone wants to be irrelevant, he can say, I'm afraid of AI, or I'm going to lose my job to AI. So I think that's completely off the table. In my organization, people are not afraid of digitalization or AI. They believe it's going to enhance them and make them better at what they're doing. I think the message has to be very important is not to get lost to the hype or the excitement of implementing AI. It is about the combination of AI and digitalization with human interaction. I think that in a lot of sectors, and especially in the medical one, you cannot do without the human interaction, but you can absolutely not scale and deliver quality medical care accessible to every corner across this nation in India or anywhere around the world in a sustainable and affordable way without AI. So upskilling and cross-skilling is exactly what we did 10 and 20 years ago. Not we, because we're a virtual digital company from day one in 2006 and maybe ahead of time, but what other companies did in other areas. So I'm not going to tell you this is a challenge, it's a reality, and we just need to deal with it, and we have to implement those upskilling and cross-skilling. Everyone today asks himself, how can I be better at understanding AI? Every teenager, every 20, 30, 40, 50-year-old. So it is, what tools are we giving as a corporate to our employees and to our team members? Second, data and data protection is crucial. Being ethical about what you're doing is crucial. And then again, it is about setting your vision and clear boundaries. Don't think you will solve the world just by implementing or doing or investing in AI. It is a significant investment, but it needs to go away, and you need to find the business models that give you and deliver as a company, and that is exactly what we do. A competitive advantage with very innovative, advanced, and agile supply chains and processes that you can deliver, scale, and actually give answers to shortage of doctors, to pathology reviews, to radiology. We don't have enough radiologists, we don't have enough pathologists in our world. So yes, now we have a solution to that. Let's embrace it and implement it rather than being scared. And then your third point was, or did I miss a little bit on privacy? Again, it's not a challenge. It's not a challenge. It's what we wake up to every morning. This is some of our investments as we invest in human resources and capital and innovation and digitalization. We have to align with regulations in different countries, part of what we do. That's not a challenge. A challenge is maybe implementing new processes. Coming to people who've been working with you for 15 years or 10 years and saying, we're completely changing the processes. And you're part of that, but you have to really reinvent how you work. That might be a psychological challenge, but for me as a CEO and as a corporate, and I believe for everyone on this panel, privacy is what we deal with. It's a reality. Upskilling, cross-skilling, same.
But also on upskilling and cross-skilling, one specific question is, because one of our reporters here wrote a nice little, Devina, yes, I'm hinting it. She wrote a lovely piece on how the Gen Z, and you have the Gen Z, Alpha, and all these generations working with the boomers and the millennials and the Gen X. So we have a cross-culture thing. So that is something that probably you have very young people. You have how is that being handled by?
Very easy. When you ask them, do you want life-work balance? What's the answer, do you think? Anyone? Yes, right? That's a big buzzword. I'm a little bit older, so that's not a buzzword for me, but it is a buzzword, right? So if you ask your teams, do you want life-work balance? And they would say yes, they all do today. The answer is, okay, great, let's upskill and cross-skill. Let's give you digital solutions and AI tools to make you better at what you're doing. We can reduce the time you need to do certain tasks, and you can focus on doing tasks that are really impactful and delivers outcomes, better medical outcomes, better financial profitability outcomes, etc. Everyone will say yes, because that cuts hours, that cuts unnecessary workload, right? Anyone disagree with me?
You'll know in a bit now.
Do I what?
No, you'll know in a bit when I ask them that same question.
So it is about transparency, agility, open discussions. And what I see across the different countries is if you engage on time from day one and not hold projects that are in silos and in corners, developing your AI and your digitalization, and you really bring them on to the table at the thinking stage, not just at the implementation stage, you will have team members that will go along and will be very happy to reinvent the future in the world.
Lovely. Dilip, in your case, now Sigal sees everything as an opportunity, and it's a fact of life in most cases. And probably I think she also answered the earlier questions, what are the key attributes of a digital leader, so perhaps. But maybe one of the reasons which I could see is that it's already a digital company. With a BFSI sector, the bank like yours also has a lot of legacy applications. So scaling up of GenAI pilots and also given the cultural workforce, do you find anything, are you in disagreement or do you agree with that kind of an observation?
See, I think one thing is for sure, because I think, let's look at my example. I mean, when I was passing from college, and if I used to learn something, let's say I learned Java, I was sure that if you run for 5-7 years, you are safe. You can survive for 5-7 years, and then you learn coding after some time. If you come in last 5 years and now recently, you start to see that learning is, the cycle has becomes it's not the thing has not changed so much, but the pace at which the learning is changing is very, very different. Which basically means what you learn in the morning, it'll come to a state where tomorrow it is irrelevant. So the organization has a challenge on one thing, is that culture that needs to be built, that it is not about the topic what you learn, but that learning needs to be an integral part of everyday's person life to order to survive. And if you have a very, very large org which works in not just technology, but which is going to get disrupted by technology, they need to understand that piece. So it becomes a very, very big challenge towards a culture bit of not just one technology or one area, but just to make sure that you have that culture where everyday learning happens and you are adapting and you're making it faster. That is one of the challenge. However, I must tell that I think you touched upon a lot of topics which are challenging in terms of data protection, privacy, and all those things. But I want to still highlight one topic where it can solve a problem which people completely underestimate, because I think the biggest power any company has is to make sure they understand the last end user behavior, the end user consumer behavior. Let's say when we used to build products, we used to just ship the product and make sure that everybody accept the product. Over a period of time, people said, okay, we are not interested in product anymore. They said we need solutions. So you try to mix different products and then you create a solutions. Now they say, guys, I'm not interested in your solution also. I'm interested in what is needed by me, and you need to understand and deliver to me what you want. So that's where the power of topics like AI comes in. So example, if you're in a healthcare, I want to know specifically my healthcare situation, my health needs, my health vitamin needs, and all those things. And the company should be able to deliver those stuff. Okay. And I think topics like AI and all those things will drastically change the stuff. And it is not just in healthcare. It will be same thing in banking. It will same be in any kind of consumer-based industry. So I think there will be also a challenge with data protection, privacy, and all those things. But I think it's a massive opportunity to solve this stuff with this topic. And that's why I'm very bullish on this.
That's also the attribute of a leader. Jayashree, your quick thoughts on the same subject?
Yeah, I think there are 3 challenges one can look at.
Oh, you are seeing the challenges. I like that.
But the challenges can be opportunities. Okay?
There we go.
The first one is how do companies adopt, accept, and accelerate the digital transformation, right? Obviously, there are going to be a lot of questions. The reality is there is AI, there is digital, and there is no choice for us to go forward. But there's always a resistance to change. And therefore, the sponsorship has to come from the top, the tone from the top. And if that happens, this entire transformation journey can become much faster, easier, smoother. So fortunately for us in Coromandel, we had the sponsorship of a chairman. So he said this almost 3 years back, saying that all of you will go through the digital transformation, and that set the tone very well. And therefore, lots of improvements started happening in small ways. And today we are gathering momentum and going fast forward. The second thing is about the communication to the users, because they are also going to have a lot of apprehensions in terms of what's going to do to them. There is a fear of unknown, there is an insecurity, there is also a learning, unlearning. All of those are going to be few opportunities for us to address. Here I think the role is of all the business heads, the functional heads, to sort of understand, communicate, and communicate, which is also happening. The third, which is the most important one in my mind, is with all this digital transformation and AI, there's a lot of data that comes in a very organized manner. What people would have to go and pull out from 5, 6 different sources is going to be available in touch of a button. And that's so powerful. It can give you competitive advantage. It can also trouble if somebody takes this data and goes away. So the security of the data, who can access this, is extremely important. Therefore, the role level security, internal within the organization, and then the cyber security is critical. So these 3 things, if we address, I think there's no stopping in terms of the company leaping forward in the digital agenda.
Sajid, your quick thoughts?
Right. So there's been a study which says that 80% of all information has a spatial context. So I'm going to take the last point that Jayashree made about the amount of data and information. So what we are doing for the first time, huge amount of data in a very organized manner is being available for use. And when you say that 80% of all information has a spatial context, we are finding that the first time availability of this kind of data is igniting several minds as to the possibilities of that. So in terms of even you mentioned about young talent, I mean, I think that their ability to engage with this data, which was not available earlier, is something that is a learning for us also every time. So every time we engage, we find that there are ways in which this data can be used by the broader community. So in that sense, I think just the sheer liberation of this data and being available is a new leap forward.
Great. Sigal, I know you have a hard stop at 8:15, but before that we still have time, 5 minutes. So what would your advice be to aspiring leaders who want to, foster a culture of innovation and continuous learning within the organization? What would you tell these aspiring leaders? What should they be doing within the organization?
So if I may, just quickly add to the gentleman from Deutsche Bank. He spoke about learning. And it is so important to understand...
Can you hear?
No. Okay. That AI and digitalization enables... enables one to learn so much more and so much faster at a much smaller effort. So what would take someone a whole day or a week to learn before can go so much faster, and the effort that one needs to do on the intellectual side to reach new understandings, conclusions, to be able to drive your business and in any role that you are to the next level, thanks to these tools, are immensely faster, scalable, and at a reduced effort. So you said something so smart. What they need to do is to learn, right? And if you learn the skill of learning, you are so versatile and agile, and you can adapt to everything. So my first recommendation to anyone is be curious, learn fast, use the tools available today that your organization gives you, because that is the social and professional responsibility of every sustainable organization in today's world, business, corporate, is to deliver the tools for team members to learn fast and to implement better decisions for themselves and for the business.
Folks, do you have any quick questions for our panelists? Any specific panelists that you have? Yeah, Devina?
Hi, I'm Devina from Mint, and I had a question for all of you all. Is what we're not talking about is the redundancies because of AI. I mean, all of you all are talking about, yes, we need people and who have to be skilled in AI. You already have a bunch of young talent coming in from colleges who are already well versed. How are you all dealing with the insecurities around redundancies?
If I may ask, maybe let me start and anybody can add. I think this topic of tech transformation or AI, and if you talk about the redundancies of the jobs and insecurities and all those things, I don't think it is new. it was always existing in the industrial era and all those things. I think the human race is very, very smart. You will always find a new ways of doing things and different ways. So I feel that there will be change. I mean, it will change all of us in our personal life as well as professional life. You will do different things which will add value. A lot of stuff which we used to do, which is much more smartly done by machines and AI, will be done. But I think there will be better life and better ways of doing the stuff. And that's why my topic, again, I'm reiterating, is the topic of learning as a culture becomes extremely important, because if you need to be relevant, you need to be adapting yourself and coming in a new reality, and you will always find a different path for doing the stuff. I feel it's not going to, it is rather going to create, it actually is lifting the level of the jobs. I mean, the things which are repetitive and all those things will go away, in the sense it should be done by machines, and there's much more value-added jobs and all those things which will be created, and that's where we needs to be ready with regards to our learning and all those things. So I feel it is rather opposite in the sense of I don't feel it's a threat, because if that was a threat, I mean, the changes has happened for hundreds of years, and the humans have still survived and still continue to do the stuff.
Anybody wants to add to that? Is it comforting enough? No, she's not being comforted.
No, the reality is there will be redundancies, and there's no running away from it, right? We can say we can reskill, we can upskill, we can do whatever it is, but there would be redundancies, and we must be prepared to deal with it. What would have probably required 50 people on the job may be done by 5 or even just 1. So these are some things which we cannot avoid. And to what we just heard, it is nothing new. When the industrialization happened, manual labor was replaced by machine. Today, AIs might replace many jobs that have been done by human beings as well. So this is a process, this is an evolution. We cannot think that redundancies won't happen. It will happen. There will be some who will find opportunities within the company. There may be few who would find outside, because not every company is going to move at the same pace. But we must provide a congenial environment so that people don't have this fear and resist getting in for this transformational change. That's the way I would look at it.
Sajid, any word of comfort?
Thank you. I'm just so happy somebody actually mentioned that redundancies is going to happen and it's inevitable.
We'll begin. Yeah, last one, please.
I'll just add that the side and next to the redundancies, there will be new job opportunities. So it's a changing situation. It's not a retraction, it's a transformation. In transformation, you have new ways of doing certain things. There will be more new companies, and certain things will go backwards, okay? So because you don't have to do certain things, you will finally maybe have the time, and I'm taking something completely not technological and something very basic. How many people cook at home? Take the pleasure of doing something so basic, of going into the kitchen and putting your hands into food rather than helping. And I'm not just speaking about India or any other places, of going to fast food, places to have a quick snack or processed food, or having a helper prepare something. Suddenly you will have those half an hour time, because machines are going to do redundant things that people used to or should be doing for their mental and their physical health. Suddenly they might have time for it. So new jobs, redundancies, transformation. In every transformation, there is opportunity for everyone.
Sajid, your quick thoughts before we continue.
Right, I think that, I think all the other speakers have pretty much covered what had to be said. I think redundancies are a reality, and I would, second what the other speakers mentioned, that this has been a hard reality in the evolution of human society, or, in the manner in which societies have grown. But then we have to go take comfort from the past and say that eventually the human spirit, figures out as to what has to be done in terms of alternative possibilities. In our case, for example, this is a new sector, so we are actually creating jobs because of the kind of data which is being created. So we are adding people. I'm sure that there will be other areas where people will be redundant, so eventually water finds its own level, I think.